Hey everyone, Melanie Minshinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have a new project for you with my newest set from Gina K Designs, Stately Flowers 10, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can make a really cool but very easy to do scene using the sagebrush, which is the stately flower of Nevada. So I thought this would be really cool for making sponge skies and then desert and mountainscapes, just adding this little bitty flower. The products that you're going to be needing for this particular design are very minimal today. We're going to be using the Stately Flowers 10 set, and we're also going to be using this Dream from Teresa Momber's new French Flair set. You'll need some acrylic blocks for those stamps, some cardstock that we're going to be using today. I've got the Gina K Navy and the white, and I will post the measurements for this below, and then just a little bit of adhesive. It's just a 2-layer card today. The pads that we're going to be stamping with, I've got the Memento Tuxedo Black. Going to be showing you a really cool technique you can do for filling in that grass, not just with sponges, but with the pads themselves in a direct-to-paper technique using the jelly bean, the grass green, and then finally the fresh asparagus. You don't have to use this many shades. I would recommend 2 though, just to really get a nice variation there. For the sky, we're going to be using the powder blue and the blue raspberry. And for creating the mountains, we're going to be using the Gina K Navy ink. You could also use the blue denim, but I just wanted it a little bit deeper. I've got 3 different sponge daubers that I'm using. Tip that I have about the sponge daubers, if you have some alcohol markers, you could just mark on the side which ones you're going to use. I try to keep them to a color group, so I don't clean them in between. I just kind of try to stick to the lighter blues, darker blues, and darker greens. Sometimes though I pick up the wrong one if this wears off, and it does eventually just from me rubbing on it with my fingers, so I have to remember to remark it so that I know and then don't end up having black in my green. But again, it's really good to mix colors, so if you have a little bit of 2 different shades going together, it just makes your card deeper and makes it more interesting, so I really don't worry about that too much. You're also going to need some scratch paper just for tearing and masking to create that mountain edge. And then I showed you before, you're going to want to stamp these different images on some scratch paper and then cut them out so that you have them handy for putting them over your colored image so that you can sponge over it and remove it and you'll still have the yellow flowers. So let's begin by stamping up our scene. Move some stuff out of the way here. So we're going to start by stamping the sagebrush, and I want to go up and down. I can put this right here so you can kind of see where we're going. You don't have to put as many on here if you don't want to as I did. It's going to be more coloring if you want. You can just have more grass and then just have a few down in the corner, but I really wanted it to be all over. So that's what's going to be the most time consuming part of this card, is doing the coloring, but I just chose a couple colors and I realized I just forgot to show you the markers. So I will show you my marker colors in just a second when I put this stamp down. I'll put one. I think I'm going to do a little bit less just so I have a little bit less time, and you'll see there's different ways that you can arrange all this. Okay, so I'm just going to do those 4 right there. Okay, the marker colors that I'm using today, I've got the DG2, the GG3, the CT4, and the TN9 for that butterfly. So the reason why I've got a dark gray and a light green here, they have a real kind of silvery green, kind of a dusty, kind of like Dusty Miller almost, if you've seen that kind of plant, color to their leaves. So you can color these any way that you want, but if you want to try to get a true shade, what I decided to do here, I really didn't have a gray-green that was the match that I wanted in my Spectrum Noir collection. So what I did instead is I'm just going to color these with the gray, and then I'm going to layer the green over it. So that's something you can always do if you want more of a green tone or more of a gray tone or more of the yellow tone. That's one of the only things that I've really noticed maybe is lacking in when I had a assortment of Spectrum Noir versus the Copic. The Copic has a lot more shades, and so just sometimes there's a few shades that are a little bit, missing, that are kind of in between, and you wanted it to be a little bit more muted or a little bit deeper. And so you can always layer these colors one over the other. And so I've already finished that there. That didn't take long. Then I'm just going to go over this with the green, and it's not going to change it that much, but it is just going to kind of freshen it up. And it's okay if you go outside the lines because I'm going to be sponging over this with a bunch of greens and then doing that direct to stamp technique. So it's actually almost better even if you do kind of fill in those white spaces in between because you're already adding in more green that's going to be that tall grass. Okay. So I hope you can tell the difference there. And if you want, you can use 2 shades of yellow, but I'm just going to use 1 today. And you can blend it a little bit more. The way these open, the kind of the gray and the green blend together, and the more that they open, the more of that yellow shows down the flower. So just kind of depends how you want them to look. Again, I'm trying to go quickly today since we still have to do some sponging. Keep it nice and simple. Okay. Now, I did not even cover these up before when I did my sponging of my green because you're going to have all that grass in there, and so it doesn't really matter that much if it goes over the yellow to me. So I'm just going to start sponging this on, but if you wanted to mask that, all you would do is just place this over it and then just carefully. It's just kind of hard because the stems are small, so if you want, you can use a little bit of like a masking fluid, and I have the pen, the new masking pen ordered, so I will be showing that in a video coming up soon. Okay, so there's a nice soft look there, and then you can sponge in a little bit of this lighter green if you want, just so that you've got some of the variety. I think I just used the darker one. I said the lighter one, but I used the darker one. Okay, now, I will get rid of that. Okay, so that's what you got to work with. Got a little bit on my finger, so just be careful there. So what I'm going to do now, I want to add some grass in. So I'm going to take this grass green pad, and I'm going to take the edge of it here, and I'm just going to make some swipes. And so you can see how the sagebrush, it looks like it's being blown in the wind that way. So I'm just taking my pad to make some tall grass. And it's okay if it's going up higher into that mountain area because remember, this is as if you're sitting down in the grass low, like a little mouse. And then I'm going to take the lighter green one, this jelly bean, and put some of this in too. So every card's going to come out different. You can do more masking if you want. Okay, so let's make our mountains now in our sky. So I'm going to put on some of this powder blue first. I can't believe I did that there in the corner, but that's okay. It'll get covered up. And I might have to add another butterfly in there or something later just to make that work the way that I want. And if you want, you don't even have to have mountains in this scene. I just thought it would be really pretty because I was trying to go for Nevada. I made that a little darker than I wanted there. So it could be a late afternoon sky, darker or lighter sky. Okay, now I'm going to put in some of this blue raspberry here at the corners. And so I always leave some white space so that it looks like you have some clouds. So just randomly around there. So you can barely see that now, but I still might end up popping up something over that. Okay, now let's do our mountains. So I do want to use the mask for this one, and if you want, you could put on just a little bit of adhesive to hold it down. But what I did here is I just tore this little paper to make my mountain here. And it would have been better to be a longer piece just so you can go all the way across, but I'm just going to move my masks. So I've got my darkest one here. So I'm going to take this navy. I'm going to turn it sideways. I just think it's going to be a little bit easier to hold it. And I'm just going to go right up against that edge, and then it's just going to fade down as it goes down towards the green. Okay, and then I'm going to flip this so that the edge looks a little bit different. And just move this, put this over it. That makes it a little bit easier to have on there. And while you're sponging this side, if you want, you can cover up that one on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to take my blue a little bit lower here. All right, so there's my scene. You can add another little mountain here. That's what I did before because I got a smudge on the first one. Then I'm going to add my greeting. And I put the greeting really low just because that was where my smudge was. So if I wanted, I think I'll change it, and I'm just going to put the curve of the D up over that little smear. Okay, gone. And if you want, you could even shift this a little bit and stamp off so it has a tiny bit of shadow on there. I didn't do that on the first one, but that's just a variation that you can do. Okay, no, so let's do that butterfly real quick. So you don't have to color it like a glass wing, but that is the image that I drew it from. And they have these beautiful open panes in their wings. So you can see the colors of whatever's behind them right through these middle sections. So I'm going to change where I'm going to have it just a little bit since I moved the dream up. But I want some of it to be covering up, and I want it to be behind part of that mountain so that you can see that the mountain is showing through. But it just looks like it's perched there. Hang on, I didn't get enough of that black on the edge. Pardon my head. Okay. So they have a brown outer rim. Oh, and I forgot one more thing that I wanted to add to this card. So this is optional if you want to add this in, but this is something I did on the first one. So you can see how that mountain is coming through there on the back. But what I also did is I used my Pitt Artist pen, the big white pen, to put in just a little bit of white here in this section. The real butterfly does have some white on its wing. And that way you can see that it just has that open area there. And that's it. If you want to add a little bit more yellow, brighten these up at the bottom of each, since we only used one marker color. And I don't think I used the fresh asparagus. I think I just did the grass green and yeah, that looks good. I like that better. Having multiple shades of green on there. Forget the deepest one. So there is my scene. And all you have to do is adhere this to your card. And the card's complete. So it was so fun drawing all these different flowers from the Stately Flowers series. Some of them have just such showy, beautiful flowers, but you know, some of these rugged, maybe simpler flowers really have their time and place on your designs as well. So I hope you enjoy using that stamp, and this gives you a lot of ideas about the set. Leave a comment below letting me know which one you prefer, A or B, whether that's because of the colors, because of the placement, or whatever. But I enjoyed making this for you today. I hope that you enjoyed watching the video. Please visit my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, for more ideas and inspiration using all of our sets from Gina K Designs, and visit us on Stamp TV. I hope you'll subscribe. Thank you for watching. God bless.